Hello everybody, it's Rombo here, and today is Market Movers Monday, and we're going to be going over 5 tickers here: IO, PROG, SHMP, KAVL, which I'm kind of excited about, and FCEL, which is an old favorite of mine. So with that said, let's look at the charts here. IO, major gap up here. He had a big spike in volume. I had on my daily before the market comes in with my deviations, I draw these lines. And sure enough, what happened? It went right up to this resistance here on the daily chart and pretty much finished. We did break above this deviation, which is usually a sign that we could move upward to the 4-hour chart resistance, which is 235, or we can have a little gap fill. So big major moves like this, you always got to be very careful. We had quite a big steep retracement, but then we completely engulfed that candle here. So it's going to be kind of iffy tomorrow to see what happens. We're on the 4-hour chart. We've seen before it did get past the red before, so we could be seeing 305. Again, I'm not a financial advisor or anything. I'm just an old man upstairs with 3 monitors, but really strong resistance here at the third deviation. We're getting close there. So maybe 235 area if it pushes upward tomorrow. If it breaks, it broke 217. If we can get above that here, I think right now it's at 210. So that's not necessarily a great sign. But if we get above 217, I would personally start getting out at around 235 area, and waiting for maybe that gap to be filled, coming back down here. I don't know if there's news that created this or anything, but just play it accordingly. Be careful. Have your stop losses in on the 5-day here. We hit well above the 2.5 area deviation, and coming back down here. So it's going to be a tough call. That's up to you guys tomorrow. If you're in it, boy, I'm glad you made some money, but maybe you have a stop loss at around the 197 area. 199 right below the support at $2. We do have support there. We did break that resistance, which then becomes support, but we broke it again. So it looks like it's in a downtrend right here. Well, now we just popped above it again. So I'm still doing this here at 4:47 Central Time. So things are still going on here. But that's what I have for IO. PROG. Another big gap day today for PROG. Well, it didn't really necessarily gap up. It filled that right there, but we did kind of gap up. We have the topping tails here, and we came above. Didn't quite get to the 4-hour resistance here at 313. Not too much of a bottoming or topping tail though, so there's still a lot of buying pressure going on. The sellers really couldn't do too much to stop it, so that's usually a good sign that we might be able to get up to the 353 area or maybe 380 area overall. So it does have a history of popping up over to the 2.5 area there and here. So this would be the third area about right here. So maybe this does have room to run to 353 tomorrow. Again, I don't know if there's news with this or anything either, but it does look promising. I would probably always be careful, have a stop loss in. I mean, here we went above the 2 second deviation, and here's my resistance, and sure enough, what happened? Boink, came right off. Looks like we're coming into a downtrend here with support right here, so we should know about 296 what's going to happen. That will probably happen here in the after hours. But yeah, maybe have a stop loss right below the first deviation. Maybe it will bounce off and kick back up, but that might be a good area for a stop loss there, or at 266 area. But just be careful with that. Take your profits. Remember, guys, there's nothing wrong with taking profits. I would rather have putting a little amount of money in my pocket instead of shelling money out of my pocket that will not return. So just be careful with that. Another one, SHMP. This one is interesting. We did have a big dip down to the 2.5 deviation, and now we're working our way back up to the average. It looked like it came all the way to the red and worked its way down. This might be a big swing type of stock. So if we could get above that average at 0.4818, I would definitely think that we shouldn't have a problem getting back up to the 0.645 area. I want to take a look at what we did today with SHMP. Now this is where it gets interesting. We had a nice gap up, and then we continued very nicely, and then nice and strong at the end of the day. I did not see this during the day at all. It kind of crept up and snuck up on me on my scanner. I really wish I would have saw this, because when personally I like stocks that finish very strong. A little mix here with the buying and selling pressure at the end here. There is a harmonic indicator here that shows the pattern that it should be coming back down to the average area. This is a potential reverse area, and the target price would again be somewhere back up here. So maybe if not in the after hour, well, this can't be this is OTC, sorry. Maybe tomorrow, if you're not in it, you're thinking about getting into it, I would see if there's a quick downtrend at the beginning of the day to maybe fill this pattern out, and then here's the AB equals CD. So here's the AB equals CD. So the D area looked like it did bounce here, but now to finish this pattern, you'd have to come back down here, and so maybe at the beginning of the day we might see something like that first, or this could obviously could continue upward, but again, what usually, you get up into the second deviation area, it usually really likes to find the average price again. So just beware of that. Again, coming from the daily, we still have the means is a big resistance at 0.4797. The first support on the daily would be 0.3956. On the 4-hour chart, we're looking at right away some resistance at 0.487, and we have support at 0.427 right here. So if it drops below here, 0.427, be careful, because this could work its way back down onto the negative deviation area, especially if it breaks this support right here at 0.3225, which is a pretty strong horizontal support. So. And then one that I'm really interested in is KAVL. This might look pretty boring to you. Oh, excuse me. On the hourly chart, the 4-hour chart, it's like, Ron, really? Well, okay, nice little bump up. Okay, I'll give you that. But when we come back to the daily chart, then it starts to get a little interesting, because here we have a nice gap right here to fill. That is from 303 area up to around the let's see here, 446 area. Yeah, around 285 to 446. So that's something to look forward to be filled. And then here's another gap right here. Okay, so you kind of getting to where I'm going here, right? I mean, there's from $1.37 up to, I think it was like $1.72. So I have a buy-in at $1.72. Once I feel once it fills this gap right here, we're at the -1 deviation, and then I think it's only working its way back up to its average price. And once it gets to that average price, it's probably going to want to fill that area, which most likely then will continue to at least $5.36, and most likely would then continue to $6.50. That's a big jump. Now again, this is off the daily. That doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow, but I did say that about Spirit, and I said that would take at least a month or so, and it filled it in a couple days with that short squeeze. I'm not saying this is a short squeeze by no means, but I am saying that there are some gaps to fill, and it did have a really nice day today, going up 18.38%. So we did have somewhat of a little bit of volume here starting to, nothing momentous or anything, and really I would say until we get above this volume spike right here, the bears are still pretty much in control of this. But once we get above here, we'll be working at the bulls really getting in control of the price move, and with that happening, that obviously would be reflected, or I should say the price would reflect the volume. They kind of go hand in hand. Everyone says, well, Ron, there's no volume here. I'm not going to get into it. Well, guess what? There was no volume here, and look what happened. Okay, volume dying out just means that there's nothing going on, and we're waiting for the next move. That's all that is. Here's the big move. Volume dies down, and now we're waiting for the next move. So that's what I have with KAVL. I'm personally, again, I'm not an advisor, but I'm waiting for. I'm not going to be really aggressive here, and if I was, I'd be in it already. But I want to see it break for a couple of reasons. One, it would fill the gap completely and start working on this area right here, and that would be bouncing over the -1 deviation, working its way back up to the positive deviation, and that would be a very, very nice payday if that happened. So I'm kind of getting a little excited about KVAL. And then last but not least, an old favorite of mine, or FCEL, fuel cell energy. This one was really, really nice to me. And then we had a very long drop down. Nothing really to talk about. It teased us a little bit right here, but then worked its way down below the average. We're in the value area, I guess you'd call it. But now we broke out, and I'm in at 838. We broke this at the means price, so I'm looking most likely there really isn't anything resistance wise. Yeah, if you look horizontally, there's resistance at 946. But look where that was. It was on the average means area, right? Here's the means area. Here's the means area. Well, here's the means area, and we blew right through it. Okay, so that's how you look at things differently with deviations versus just straight horizontal support and resistance. You always want to keep that in mind. Okay, that's just as important as the deviations. That gives you just more information to go off of. So that's going to be a little tricky area around 9. Tomorrow I'll put my little, my price lines right here, just to to give me an idea. If it bounces off that area, starts to come back down, I'll probably have my stop loss at 704, and I'll let that it will probably bounce off of that if it does that and continue. The price usually, once it breaks the median, it likes to usually work its way eventually to the one deviation. Remember, 68% of the time it stays within the gold here. So could it bounce off of here and come back down? Yep, it certainly could. It did it right there. So I'm going to have my finger on the flatten button. I'll be moving up my stop loss as we go along. And if it breaks and we continue up to 1329, and if it bounces down, I'll get stopped out. And if it comes back up to my previous area, I'll wait for it to break that and get back in and make the move back up here. If it gets up to the first deviation, doesn't mean it's going to stop there. Look at that right here. Here's the second, the 2.5 deviation mark resistance at 1595. So I'll just be moving my stops up as it goes up. And if it starts coming down, I'll get stopped out and I'll make my profit. So we finished at 874 today, so I did pretty decent. I'm happy about that. And we'll see what FCEL has in the future for us. I guess it's been kind of getting more momentum on Twitter and everything, which is fine with me. I don't necessarily pay attention to the news or the media and everything, but I like to know the news because that I don't play the news just because it's good news or sell when it's bad news. I sell the reaction to the news. Sometimes the reaction's bad on good news. And believe it or not, sometimes I've seen with bad news, the price goes up. News is a catalyst, okay? But that's it. You don't know if it's a good catalyst or a bad one until you start seeing what happens on the chart. So just a little reminder of that. So, but FCEL, it's going to be kind of fun to watch FCEL and see what that has in store here coming up. And with that said, guys, I hope you had a really good, profitable Monday, and we'll be seeing you next week on Market Movers Monday.